Yo, how y'all doing today? Marvel Tokon pleasantly surprised me. I was super cautiously optimistic about the game. I tried my best to analyze everyone's footage on it before I actually got to try the beta, or at least some of the footage we got from the Evo demo. The best footage was probably Maximilian Dude's footage against the devs. I wanted to learn as much as I could about it so there wouldn't be any surprises. I didn't want to go in with rose-tinted glasses, you know? And I gotta be honest, they were not lying about this game. Like, this really was the most fun I've had trying a new fighting game since Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, I'm not saying it was perfect or anything. Don't get me wrong, but dog, this game has some depth, bro. This is like BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle if they did it correctly. There are some kinks to iron out, duh, but like, please, if you ironed them out, this is perfect. Let's remove the formalities. I am extremely hyped. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Matter of fact, roll the footage of my matches. First things first, let's get one thing out of the way. The movement in this game feels amazing. One issue that I've been having lately with some of the FGs I've been picking up is that the movement feels a little bit more stiff than what I'm used to, at least for these recent games. But yeah, that is just not an issue that I had with this game. I felt loose. I feel like I had the freedom of movement. I really like the flight mechanic in the game. I guess for me personally, it would feel better if it was a command input just to get it to come out more consistently and to link it into combos easier. The only thing movement wise that I felt like could be significantly faster was tri-dashing. It was a little bit sluggish, which was kind of disappointing, but if you tweak that, I think it'll definitely make the game feel a lot better, especially for Dr. Doom, considering the fact that he has Slayer's dash from EXCEEDED. His dash is still really good for mix-ups, but it feels like he has a lot of issues regaining stage control due to the fact that you can't rely on wave dash to get in and out. And with that said, I think that all movement in the game could benefit from being sped up. Not too sped up, like not on the same level as Marvel 3, because these games play way too different. It just wouldn't work out for this game, but definitely something more in tune to fighters. Hit that middle ground between BlazBlue Central Fiction and Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I think that would be perfect. Visually, this game looks amazing, and I wasn't even playing it on my monitor. The game is so vibrant. It's sick. The little thing where it looks like they're popping out of the storyboard, that has to be one of my favorite aspects. And even though it's just one stage, the stage transitions of course make it feel like three, but that aside, it feels bustling just like actual New York. There's a bunch of references in the background. It's extremely vibrant. It feels alive. The character designs are super sick too. The two that stand out for me are of course Iron Man and Dr. Doom, duh. We didn't get to play as Ghost Rider or Spider-Man in the beta because I'm pretty sure this beta is just a tweaked build of the Evo demo, but from what we got to see in the trailer, Ghost Rider looks sick. They translated Robbie Reyes very well, and Spider-Man looks extremely expressive. I have my caveats about the design. It is what it is. I actually kind of think it looks pretty sick. Reminds me of Kamen Rider in some ways. I wish he had a scarf though. The scarf would be just enough over design and flair to bring the whole design together. He should just straight up be like the Kamen Rider of the verse. You know, we got Mecha Iron Man. We need Kamen Rider Spider-Man. Super Sentai Spider-Man will be so sick. The last time we got to see anything close to that was Toei Spider-Man, and Toei Spider-Man opened the gateway for Super Sentai entirely. So it would just be nice to see a callback to that. He fits the role so well. It was meant for him. The supers in this game look amazing as well. Dr. Doom super has to be my favorite. Close second would probably be either Star-Lord or Captain America. I think during certain parts of them, they could be sped up slightly, but that's about it. The visuals get the seal of approval easily. Moving on from that, I really like everyone's kit in this game. From what I got to play, no one felt incomplete. It was all well-rounded, and they all had a unique thing going for them that would drive you to pick up the character. Like, it wasn't too different to the point where it was overwhelming or anything, like you were relearning the entire game when you swapped characters or tagged out. But the game wasn't super homogenized to the point where it just felt like I was playing the same matchup, except someone had more frame data or a crazy special. The more I played, the more new characters I try to pick up, the more new stuff I found. And I'll say this right now, one day was not enough for this beta. Even with a training mode, one day wouldn't be enough. And as far as the elephant in the room, the wall break mechanic, I am actually pretty impressed with how they implemented it. My problem with it in Strive is not only the fact that it breaks the pace of the match and just kind of forces you to reset into neutral. The reason it forces you to reset into neutral is because of all the benefits you get from using the mechanic. The advantage state that you gain from the buffs is such a key factor to the point where, yes, you have to wall break every match. It determines if you will win or not in most situations. It's not the longest animation in the world, don't get me wrong, but in Strive, I do feel like it breaks the pace in the match in such a significant way to the point where, like, I don't know, it's just not very fun for me to play the game. I do understand the appeal though. In Tokon, it doesn't feel as overbearing as it does in Strive, and you can just choose to interact with the mechanic, if you know what I mean. Like in Strive, if somebody gets wall splat, bro, you're going into a wall break. But in Tokon, it feels much more like it's intentional on the player's side for them to get the wall break, you know? Because the Tokon, you have to do certain actions to actually attain the wall break, you know? Whether that be doing a specific special move or doing a grab in the corner. And then after the stage transition, when you get to the far left or right, depending on the side you're facing, you actually get a true corner. It's not like Strive where you're just going to continuously get wall breaks in an infinite loop over and over again. The stage isn't endless. The implementation of the mechanic in Tokon isn't perfect by any means though. I actually have a solution to one of the problems that I have with the mechanic. As you may or may not know, when you wall break in Tokon, the entire point of you doing the wall break is to get your extra assist or character. It's tied around how you get your full team, you know? But when you get your full team, there's no point in having a wall break anymore. It's purely tied to just how you build your team. You don't do extra damage from stage transitioning at all. And that's where the mechanic becomes a problem. But the solution is very simple. Just make it to where when a player has all 4 characters, they aren't able to wall break anymore. There's just 2 true walls. And when you have access to 4 characters and your opponent doesn't, your opponent has access to the wall break, but you don't have access to the wall break until they get all 4 or whatever, and you know, then you both don't have access to the wall break. Just the perfect implementation of the mechanic. Maybe you can speed up the animation for, you know, getting a wall break or whatever, just to fix the flow of the game. I mean, it doesn't really obstruct it that much, but I feel like it would only benefit them if they sped it up a little bit more. I really hope they do implement something like this, because that would pretty much just fix every issue I have with the wall break. Now, that's just the wall break. As for the tagging in this game, I think that's the one thing that probably needs the most attention right now. One thing I do like though, when you active tag to extend your combo, it takes off some of the decay from the combo limiter. We'll get into that later, by the way. And of course, you can do some crazy mix-ups when you tag in, but that's where the incentives to tag kinda end. It's pretty obvious with the design of this game. They wanted to make it accessible in a way where you didn't need to learn a full team of characters. Many people have said this before, but you can definitely play this game by only using one character and never tagging in. And I honestly don't think that's inherently a bad thing. But with that said, I would like the freedom of choice to play the opposite way. Because tagging is so cool in this game that honestly, I don't like it feeling like one of the lesser parts of the game. And sometimes it feels like the game discourages you from tagging a little bit. It might just be me, don't get me wrong, like correct me on this if you played the beta. But round start, raw tagging felt different than raw tagging in the middle of gameplay. It felt much more smooth, it was definitely quicker, it felt more responsive, but doing it in the middle of gameplay, there's like this delay to it. And I don't really get why, to be honest. You're not really switching to a different HP bar because the game has a unified health bar. When you tag in a different character, there's no invulnerability or super armor. So that's definitely one aspect that I would like changed. As far as giving you more incentives to tag, I honestly think this game would benefit from having 2 modes. Similar to Skullgirls, but not the same. I think it would be cool if they implemented a way where you had 2 different play styles, you know? One play style where you had 1 character and 4 assists, and another play style where you had 4 characters with separated health bars. You could tag, you could use assists, but naturally the values of each play style will be tweaked. For example, if you chose the play style with just 1 character and 4 assists, you'd have more HP, you deal slightly more damage, and as you do stage transitions and you get your assists, you'd have slightly more HP added on. Literally how the game is played right now, except you don't have access to the tag mechanic. And as for the second play style, you won't have a unified health bar, and your health will be split between your 4 characters. You'll be able to tag, call in assists, but your HP and damage will be tweaked to be relative to the other playstyle, of course. Now, this isn't a foolproof solution or anything. Things would definitely need to be tweaked. Like, for example, since the game is a 3-round game right now, you would definitely need to take that from 3 rounds to 2 rounds because matches would be way too long. Maybe the mix that 4v4 tagging would offer over just having 1 character using assists would be too broken and you wouldn't be able to do much, I guess. But the way that I see how the game is right now, the fact that you have a unified health bar and damage scaling is so high, we'll get into that later, and the fact that you don't really need to interact with the tag mechanic or learn multiple characters kind of just seems like a way to goad casuals into the game, which I have no problem with at all, but it does take away from the tag aspect of the game, like I said before. I don't think the 1v1 aspect should replace the tag aspect, in my opinion. I feel like the 1v1 system could be made separate to be there to, you know, help people learn a character, learn a specific matchup, ease them into the game, you know? I feel like it could open them up to playing the game as a 4v4 tag game. And even for veteran fighting game players, it would also just be a useful tool to maybe learn synergy with assists with a specific character, or just learn a specific character entirely to add on to your team. Since the game is 4v4, you need all the tools you can get, you know? I think it leaning more into one side or the other would also fix a lot of issues that I have with the combo limiter and damage scaling. All the issues with these two things can be chalked up to the fact that certain things in this game do way too much damage, specifically auto combos. They are just way too overtuned and way too rewarding. If you auto combo round start and manage to get off your simple square, 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 you get a stage transition and a character instantly, and it does a decent amount of damage. And some auto combos have anti-air properties, and they all track just like fighters. At times I felt frustrated because it felt like I was doing more work than my opponent and getting less of a result than them just mashing square and knocking off a chunk of my HP and then getting a stage transition and an extra assist to pretty much mix and do the same thing. And sometimes when I was able to get a good combo going or a decent conversion, the combo limiter would just come in and stop me prematurely before I was even able to realistically get off any decent damage. I would come up short more often than not, like compared to a basic auto combo. And that's due to the damage scaling in this game. And I get it, they don't want newcomers to get clipped, but that was gonna happen regardless. And if you are able to optimize your combo to the point where it's not reaching limiter, there's also a combo timer just like Grand Blue. So after a while, it's gonna drop regardless. And I just feel like these two mechanics to limit combos just don't need to be in the same game as each other. Attacks need to deal less damage. Auto combos need to be tweaked. Like, it's obvious they're gonna double down on the auto combos tracking because we complained about that in fighters for the entirety of his life cycle, and it came back in this game, so I don't really think that's gonna be changed. Hitboxes with auto combos and certain normals definitely need to be tweaked because there's no reason I should be dragged out of the air by them. Do all of this and adjust the combo limiter as well so it can work better in tandem with the new values so we can get more combos, more combo theory, just all around open up the game a little bit more, and just remove the combo timer. If the combo gets optimized to the point where it's going over 40 seconds and teetering on being like a full minute long combo, that's what combo decay is here for. I feel like with those adjustments, it would just overall benefit the game. Auto combos should never be better than like straight up learning a full length combo. It should just be there as a tool to, you know, help players get used to playing neutral or something. And after adjusting damage and making combos better overall or something, I guess you could once again take the matches from 3 rounds to 2 rounds. Because while I did say that they could add 2 playstyles or modes or whatever to the game instead of just running it the way they do, honestly, if they adjust the damage and combo limiter, I am still willing to, you know, play the game the way it is. I'm gonna play the game the way it is on release regardless. I just want to get as close as possible to reaching that perfect middle ground. I also encountered 2 bugs. There was a bug where I got stage transition and I couldn't call in my assist, and there was another bug where Iron Man was underground during his level 3, so like he couldn't hit anything, but that's about it. Those made their rounds across Twitter, so I know they're getting fixed. As far as open betas go, this one was extremely weird. A lot of people weren't getting in. B, like during the last 12 minutes of the beta, people were just now getting like invites to be added and stuff. Like it was all over the place, but actually getting into the beta was pretty cool. The downtimes were pretty strange though. Like, I don't know, it was a weird beta, but actually playing the game was perfectly fine. It was flawless. And I guess to wrap up my final thoughts, for a game this early on and this being the first beta, and you know, this beta being basically the Evo demo build, which is just the first playable version of the game for the general populace, I am very impressed. Like, the game does have its issues. I still think it should lean more into what identity it wants to be, because it's trying to be super accessible while also being a bunch of things at once. And I feel like that is causing a lot of issues with it right now, but it's not in a way where it just completely puts me off from the game. But yeah, this game was super sick. I had a lot of things that I did want to see tweaked, but you know, Dragon Ball FighterZ Beta 1 looks completely different than Dragon Ball FighterZ Season 2. And then when you get to Season 3.5 of Dragon Ball FighterZ, it's just an entirely different game. So I think ArcSys can make changes and adjustments when enough people are vocal about it, and you know, when they definitely see that there is seriously an issue with certain things. The faster we can crack open the game and understand it, the faster we can get to problems and see them tweaked and adjusted. And Sonic Fox cracked the game wide open. Like, look at this. Now, anything is possible. Remember, this is just the first beta of the game. The game comes out next year. It could be bad. Take everything I said with a grain of salt, of course. Form your own opinions. all that good stuff. I just enjoyed what I played, and I hope that it plays even better on release and I get to see some cool characters. I would love to see Venom and Magneto in the game. I don't know, do stuff other games didn't do. Add Lizard as a playable character, add Sandman as a crazy grappler, add Doc Ock as somebody with insane normals. And since he has the like neural link in his spine with the arms, if you hit the arms, it also does damage. So like you get a double-edged sword for extending your hitbox. I don't know, do some crazy stuff, bro. Since it's not a crossover game, as much as I do love Marvel vs. Capcom, don't get me wrong, I love it to death. Since this is a Marvel game, this is a chance to get some characters we didn't see in that game. So yeah, let's do it. But that's about it. Discord server link in the description, by the way. Yeah, that's all I got. I still don't know how to end video.